as there are some new faces here, just I'll be going to uninstall the Java software and reinstall once again, and we'll continue with our regular session. And if you want to get any latest version, okay, you can directly download it from Oracle Sun. Okay. Right now we have 1.5, but if you want to get any latest version, you can directly download it. Just this is the setup file. Just I have clicked on setup file. Yes. Just accept the license agreement. Open next. And this is the main wizard in the installation, okay, which contains multiple segments. If you guys want, you can come front. If you guys want, you can come front. Just we have chairs and we have enough space. Okay. Now these are 4 different sections. While installing the JDK, the development tools, demos, source code, and the public GRE. As we have discussed yesterday, the development tools contains all the components to develop a Java application. The development tools contains all the components that are used to develop a Java application. Okay, and the demos contains the sample applications. Very few applications, very few applet-based applications will be there in the demos. Okay, and the source code contains. Okay, the source code contains the source code for all the library classes. The source code contains the source code for all the library classes. Okay, just because of this source code, Java is considered to be an open source software. Just because the source code of all the library related entities is exposed. For any software, the source code for all the library related entities is exposed, then that software is called as open source. Okay, and the public GRE. Okay, for developing an application in Java, we should have a development kit, JDK. Okay, we have different versions, and the latest version is 1.7, and the first version was 1.1. Currently, we are installing 1.5. Okay, and this public GRE, if you want to develop an application using Java, we should have the JDK. So we call it as J2SC development kit. Okay, we call JDK as J2SC development kit just because okay, whatever the Java application it might be, if you want to develop a Java application, whether it is a desktop application or an application which is published to internet, whatever the application it might be, we should have JDK to develop an application. So the software that is used to develop application is JDK. Okay, and most of the developmental components or the components that are used in developing the application will be there in the development tools. And the JARI is J2SC runtime environment. J2SC runtime environment which is used to execute a Java application. Development and application is different and execution is different. Okay, JARI is used to execute a application. First, development means okay, developing the source code in the source files and compiling that into executable files. That is the development. But executing those executable files is really the execution. Okay, executing the executable files is the execution. That part is different and development is different. Okay, development is nothing but developing the source code and compiling the source code to get the executable files. That's it. But the actual thing comes into picture while we are trying to execute the application. Okay, while we are trying to execute the application, this JRE will be useful. The JRE will be useful while executing the application. While developing the application, we use JDK. Okay, and this public JRE, okay, is a runtime environment which is used while executing the application. Now, okay, if you click on the options, it will display the content of the options. Okay, it will display some description of the options. Okay, and if you click on the arrow, we have an option don't install this feature now. Okay, if there is an option don't install this feature now means that option can be filterable. Okay, we can install the JDK software even without that option. That means we can install the JDK software even without public JRE. Okay, and as a developer we should do this. Okay, as a developer we should do this. Okay, now some may got a doubt like if you want to execute the application we should have a JRE, but without JRE how we can execute the application? Means the development tools itself contains, if you see the description of the development tools, it tells like J2SC development kit including private JRE 5.0. Okay, that means the development tools itself internally contains a JRE. So as a developer we should avoid installing the public JRE just because it will unnecessarily raise a confusion. See, development tools itself has a JRE as well as there is also public JRE. Why to have two JREs? Let's consider like if you want to copy some dependent files, okay, some extra files, some dependent files, some third party files, whether to paste them in the JRE of the development tools or whether to paste them in the JRE which is public, it will be a confusion. So to avoid that confusion, what we do is in the development environment we won't install the public JRE just because already in the development tools we have private JRE. If we have two JREs it will be a confusion, everywhere it will be a confusion. If you want to add some third party files it will be a confusion whether we need to add the third party files to the JRE which is there inside the JDK or a JRE which is there outside the JDK. So in order to avoid that confusion, in general in the development environment we avoid installing the public JRE. Okay, even without public JRE we can compile and execute the application just because there is another JRE which is a private JRE which is there inside the development tools. So we can compile and execute the application very perfectly even without public JRE, just because the development tools itself contains a private JRE inside that. Okay, and the demos contains the sample application, and source code contains the source code of all the classes, all the library related classes, and the default location is C program files. As per some industry recommendations, we should not install any software, any explicit software in C program files. Okay, so it is always recommended to go with another location other than C program files. So I'm trying to install the Java software in eJDK 1.5 location. So now my Java software will be installing eJDK 1.5 location, and the installation will be finished by this. So the main thing is in the wizard itself. The rest of the thing is next, next, and next. And some of the guys might be misguided that, okay, like you need to have a knowledge of C++ to learn Java. Okay, but in fact, you need not to have any knowledge of C++ to learn Java. Okay, the common elements in C++ and Java are only the object-oriented programming concepts, not even the programming syntax. The object-oriented programming syntax also is different from C++ to Java. Only the object-oriented programming concepts are similar. Okay, but that object-oriented programming concepts we can learn in one day. So don't think that it's mandatory to learn C++ to learn Java. In fact, it is confusing if you learn C++ and Java. Just because you learn Java by comparing C++ and Java. So it will lead to a confusion. Okay, you may sometimes you may imply the C++ syntax to Java or Java syntax to C++, which might be confusing. So it's better to leave out C++ outside the class and learn Java as Java. Then you can learn it very better. Don't compare C++ with Java, and don't learn Java in comparison with C++. Okay, if you already know C++. If you don't know C++, then it is far better. And even in C also, it's not mandatory to have all the things. It's just variable declarations, functions, if, for, while, switch, more than enough. These things are more than enough to learn Java. The basic programmatic structures, programmatic elements are more than enough to learn Java. Don't think that I need to learn all the things of C and C++ to learn Java. Everything we can discuss. But what I expect from you is, I expect the basics of all these programmatic structures. Variable declaration, functions, if, while, for. I hope all of you know all those things.
Yes.
Right? Now, if you see the installation folder, okay? If you see the installation folder, just we have demos which came through demo, and we have src.zip Okay, if we extract this, we can see the source code of all the library related classes, okay, that are there in Java. So if you want to install, we can install, otherwise we can filter that source code. And we cannot filter the development tools. Development tools is a mandatory thing. And if you see SRC, okay, just this is a class which is string, and we can find the source code for string. Okay, we can find the source code for string. So just like this, we can find the source code of any class or any library class if you want. Okay, that's the source code. Now we have demos of some basic applet applications. Okay, these are some examples of basic applet applications, and this is the demos. And in any programming language, okay, in any programming language, to perform any action there will be commands. Okay, now even in C you might have an editor which is used for C programming language, which is used to develop a C programming language, but even in C we have commands. What is the command for compilation in C? GCC is for Linux, no? See, that's what I am telling. It has become a practice to develop a C application in that tool. But really, if you develop a C application in a notepad, then how we can compile that? There will be some command like tcn, tcc, those commands will be there. Those commands are used to compile. Okay, even if you go for some Alt F5 or something else, okay, internally they will use the commands itself. So you should know the commands. If you go for fresher interviews, these things will be asked. Okay, if a 10 years or 15 years experience guy comes to you, definitely he will ask this kind of things, just because those kind of tools were not available for them while they were studying. While they were studying, they know only commands. So at least you need to learn what happens in the backend. Even if you use tools, you need to learn what the tool will do. What the tool will do when they go for Alt F5. That you need to know. You can come here. Okay. Now for any programming language, in order to perform any action using the programming language, okay, for each and every action we have commands. Okay, for each and every action we have commands. For compilation, yes, we have commands. For execution, yes, we have commands. For documentation, we have commands. Okay, likewise, for each and every action that we can perform in Java, we have commands. Okay, a command is a executable file. Okay, for each and every command there will be an executable file. If we see in the bin folder of the JDK installation, we have commands. We have all the commands that are used to perform the specific action, okay, using JDK. Okay, now if you see here, we have javac.exe. Okay, this javac is a command. Javac is a command, and for the javac command there is a exe file javac.exe. So for each and every command there is a exe file in the bin folder. Okay, the bin folder of JDK installation contains the exe files related to the commands. Okay, the bin folder of the bin folder of the JDK installation contains all the exe files related to the commands, and each and every command will perform a specific action. Each and every command will perform a specific action. Okay, let's consider that we have javac.exe which performs the compilation. If you want to compile a Java application, we use javac. Javac is the command which is used for compilation. Okay, and if you want to execute a Java application, we go for Java command. Okay, if you want to execute a Java application, we go for Java command. So we have java.exe. Now, if you want to develop a documentation, we have java command. Okay, we will be explaining all of these commands whenever it is required. But the bin folder of JDK installation contains all the command related exe files. It contains all the command related exe files. And the lib contains all the supporting files for compilation. The lib contains all the supporting files for compilation. The lib folder of the JDK installation contains all the supporting files for compilation. Contains all the supporting files for compilation. And we have a private JRE within the JDK. As we have a private JRE within the JDK, just the JRE folder is there. Okay. So within the private JRE, if you see here, okay, we have even bin and lib. Within the JRE also, we have bin and lib. Okay. Let me open the bin of the JRE. In the bin of the JRE, we have java.exe. Now, do we have javac.exe here? See, let me see whether the javac.exe is there. See, we have java.exe, java.w.exe, javacpl.exe. Do we have javac.exe here? No. So, we don't have the commands for compilation in JRE bin. JRE is specific for execution. JRE is not for compilation. JRE is specific for execution. We cannot compile a Java application using JRE. Using JRE, we can just execute the application. We can just execute the application using JRE. We cannot compile the application. We can just execute the application using JRE. Now, in general, how it will be means in the execution environment. Okay, let's select I have developed a software application, and the software application I have given to the client. What the client will do is the client will compile the application in his server, and the client will use the application. Then, in the client place, do we do any development activities? No, in the client place, just we will execute the application. We will not develop the application. Since we just execute the application in the client place we won't install JDK, we directly install JDK. Just because we are not performing any developmental activities there. The client place, we directly install JDK. Even a separate JRE software will be available. A separate JDK software will be available. A separate JRE software also will be available. So, just in the client environment, what we do is directly we install JRE. So, in JRE we have the Java command. So, the Java command will be used to execute the application. So in the client place, we need not to do any developmental activities, just we execute the application. So it's enough. The JARE is enough at the client place. Okay? In the client environment. But in the development environment, we should have the JDK. Okay? Now, even we have lib inside the JARE, which contains all the jar files, all the supporting jar files for execution. The lib folder of JARE contains all the supporting files for execution. The lib folder of the JDK contains all the supporting files for compilation. The lib folder of the JDK contains all the supporting files for compilation, and the lib folder of the JARE contains all the supporting files for execution. Okay, and one of the important jar file here is rg.jar. And just I was trying to extract the rg.jar. This rg.jar contains the executable files, okay, of all the library classes. This rg.jar contains, RT means runtime, okay. This rg.jar contains the executable files of all the library classes. See, if you are developing application means we won't develop the application completely with our own defined classes, okay. Sometimes we may use library related classes. So all the library related classes will be there in this rg.jar. If you see rg, okay, let me take a simple string class. Okay, see, we have string.class here. Okay, the executable file format in Java is .class. Okay, the executable file format in Java is .class. Okay, we have string.class. That means the executable file for string class is there in rg.jar. Likewise, if we refer any library class from our application means it will pick up that library related class from rg.jar of the JARE lib. Okay, if we refer any third party class or if we refer any library related class, it will directly pick up that library related class from rg.jar of the JARE lib. Okay, first it will try to find whether the class is there in our application or not. No. If that is not the case, then it will try to find it in rg.jar. If that is not the case, then it will give a compiler message. We'll see that. Okay, but all the library related classes will be there in the rg.jar of the JARE lib. Okay, now we have JDK, and inside the JDK installation folder we have bin and lib. Okay, we have the JDK installation folder. Inside the JDK installation folder we have bin and lib. Okay, and even inside the private JARE also we have both bin and lib. Now, what is the difference between bin of the JDK installation and bin of the JARE? That means, in a theoretical way, the bin folder of the JDK installation can be useful to compile as well as execute the application. Okay, the bin folder of the JDK installation can be used both to compile as well as execute the application. But the bin folder of the JRE installation cannot be used to compile the application. It can be used just to execute the application. The bin folder of the JRE installation can be used just to execute the application. We cannot compile the application using bin folder of the JRE. We can just execute. But using JDK bin commands, we can compile as well as execute. And the lib folder of the JDK installation contains the supporting files for compilation, and lib folder of the JRE installation contains the supporting files for execution. The lib folder of the JDK installation. In JDK we have a lib, okay, and even in the JRE we have a lib. The lib folder of the JRE contains all the supporting files which are used at the time of execution, okay, and the lib folder of the JDK contains some supporting files which are used at the time of compilation, okay. So ultimately the JDK is used for compilation and the JRE is for execution. Got the basic clarity how the Java software will be? Okay. Now, let me develop a very sample application in Java. Let me develop a very sample application in Java. Okay. Just to develop an application in Java, just I am using a EditPlus software. Okay. You can get it downloaded from the internet. EditPlus software. Okay. Now, let me open the EditPlus again. I agree. Okay. Let me develop a new file. Okay. Now, let me develop a sample Java application. In general, in any programming language, okay, the sample application, the very sample application is called as HelloWorld program. Even in C, HelloWorld program means just a simple main function with printf. Okay, a simple application in any programming language is said to be a HelloWorld application. Okay, so just we develop a very simple HelloWorld application, HelloWorld program using Java. Just nothing we'll do, just we'll develop a very simple application which prints hello world on the console. In any program in C or .NET or Java, hello world application means a very simple application which prints hello world on the screen. Okay, very basic application. Now, let me develop this hello world application in Java. Now, if you want to develop this hello world application in C, what I'll do? I'll write a main function. Hello world. Okay, this is a basic hello world application in C. Then how we can write this kind of hello world application in Java? Okay, now what is the starting point of compilation in C? Main. Main is a function. It is the starting point of compilation as well as execution. But in Java or in any object-oriented programming language, it's a little bit different. Okay. The starting point of compilation in Java is a class. Let me give the class name as HelloWorld. Okay, a class is an entity in an object-oriented programming language. A class is a entity in a object-oriented programming language. Okay, you know that Java is an object-oriented programming language. How it is and why it is that we will discuss once we discuss objects. But without discussing objects, if we discuss what is object-oriented programming language, it is a waste of time. So, first we discuss some of the basic requirements for object-oriented programming language. Thereafter we discuss for object, for creating object. Thereafter we discuss what is object-oriented programming language. Without having a knowledge what is object, we discuss object-oriented programming language. Is that correct? So, first we discuss some basic programmatic elements. Then we switch to objects and object-oriented programming language. But it is not the Java is one of the object-oriented programming languages. We have C, .NET, all these are object-oriented programming languages. Java is one of the object-oriented programming languages. Okay? Java is one of the object-oriented programming languages. Now, for any object-oriented programming language, the starting point of compilation is not the main function, it is the class. Sorry, just don't make it as class. The starting point of compilation is an entity. Just you can make it as an entity. The starting point of compilation in any object-oriented programming language is an entity. What is an entity means? In return, we can tell that entity is a mandatory block for compilation. Okay? Entity is a mandatory block for compilation in an object-oriented programming language. Entity is a mandatory block for compilation in an object-oriented programming language. If you want to compile a program using an object-oriented programming language, we should have entity in the program. We should have an entity in that program. Now, there might be multiple types of entities in multiple programming languages, in different programming languages. But in Java, we have three types of entities. We have three types of entities in Java. We have three types of entities in Java. One is a class. The first entity is a class. Second entity is an interface. And the third type of entity is a enum. These are the three types of entities possible in Java. Class, interface, and enum. A class is not different. No. Just for just you can see that is visible now for everybody? For you guys, it is visible? For all of you? Now we have a class, an interface, a enum. These are three types of entities, but for at least 10 to 15 days, we will be dealing with class only. When time comes, we will discuss what is interface and why interface is used, and what is the enum and why we use enum. Okay? For very initial applications, we use class as an entity. Okay? But We can compile a Java application either with a class or an interface or a enum. But right now, we'll be discussing with class only. Okay? The class is one of the entities. Okay, in an object-oriented programming language. Okay? Now, just how the syntax of the class will be means, this class is a keyword. This class is a keyword. Any keyword in any object-oriented programming language will be in lowercase only. Okay? In any object-oriented programming language or in any programming language, not even object-oriented, in any programming language, the keywords will be in lowercase. It's a rule that the keywords should be in lowercase. It's a rule that the keyword should be in lowercase. So, class will be in lowercase. And class keyword space the name of the class. Class space the name of the class. Okay, the syntax will be class space the name of the class. And open a brace and close the brace. Okay, most of the people will do it like this. Just they will open the brace and they will do something and they will forget to close the brace. So, the very advisable thing is just whenever you open a brace or a parenthesis, then itself close that. Then it will be very easy to track. Whenever you open a brace or a parenthesis or a bracket, then itself you close that. Okay? So that we can avoid unnecessary compilation errors. Okay, whenever you open a brace, then itself close the brace. Okay? And a class is a starting point of compilation. An entity, a class is a starting point of compilation. From here itself, the compilation will be started. Now, let me write is font size okay for you? Okay, and one more important thing is, see, class is a parent. In this class, this block is a child. Okay, whenever you are writing the child, go for a tab. Okay, this is called as indentation. Okay, you should give proper indentation while programming so that you can easily recognize the errors in a specific block. Okay, see, if I write here, if I write it here, if I write it here, then how I can recognize which one is missing? So it's difficult to recognize whether I have missed the closing brace of that method or whether the closing brace of the class. So just the advisable thing is just go for proper indentation. So it will be very easy to track the application. Now let's consider like I have declared a variable here. Now I should go for proper indentation. Okay? That's the way we need to develop the applications. Now here I have written a code like public static void main which has a string space, okay, args which takes the brackets. Okay, this is called the main method. In Java applications, we call this as a main method, and this main method is the starting point of execution. For Java applications, the starting point of execution is the main method. Okay? In Java applications, the starting point of execution is the main method. But the starting point of compilation is the entity. Okay? and the starting point of execution is the main method. Now this is the main method syntax. Okay, for now just by heart it, but when the time comes we'll discuss what is public, what is static, what is void, what is main, what is string, what is alls. We'll discuss everything when the time comes, but now for now just by heart it. It's public, static, void, main. S is a capital here. S is a capital here. And go for alls. Just you can compare it to the main function of C. It's a function, okay, and the functions in C should be called as methods in object-oriented programming language. In object-oriented programming language, we should not call functions as functions, we should call functions as methods. In any object-oriented programming language, even in C also, we should call functions as methods, but in in C++. Even in C++ also, the standard industry standard is to call the functions as methods, but no one will follow the standard. But in Java, it's strictly followed. No one in Java, okay, will call this as a function. Actually, it's similar to a function, but we should call the function in Java as a method. In Java, functions are called as methods. Okay? See, this is a main method. Okay? This is a main method, and we can call functions in C as methods in Java. Okay? We can correlate them, and here in C how we wrote, just we wrote a main function which has printf. Which has a printf with hello world. Which has a printf with hello world. Okay. Now, if a main function in C has a printf with hello world. Okay. Now, why printf is used? To print some content to the console. Okay. The command window should be called console in software application. We should not call it as a command window. We should call it as a console. Okay. In general, people will be representing it as a command window, but we should not call it as a command window. The perfect terminology is console. Okay. If you want to print something in the console, okay, just we go for printf in C. The same in Java, we go for a syntax like this. Here S is capital, S is uppercase. System.out.println, this S is uppercase. And Java is a case sensitive programming language. Java is a case sensitive programming language. That means the uppercase and lowercase are different. The uppercase and lowercase are completely different. Java will consider uppercase and lowercase as different. Java is a case sensitive programming language. Now, once I have developed the application, just what I'll do is, just I'll try to save it in a file. Now where my Java software is installed? In JDK. Okay. Now where my JavaC command is available? Where my JavaC command is available? Bin. So I'll save this in JDK bin. Okay. In double quotes, let me give the file name as in double quotes give helloworld.java. Why we should give double quotes means in double quotes if we give any content after dot it will take as an extension. In double quotes if we give any file name means after dot it will take as an extension and before dot it will take as a file name. Okay, so we should give in double quotes. So hello world is a file name and .java is the extension. So if you don't give in double quotes, the total hello world.java will be taken as a file name. But it's not that. Hello world is a file name and .java is the extension. So we should give in double quotes so that .java will be considered an extension. So I have saved this. Okay. Now I have saved a simple hello world application. Where I have saved a simple hello world application? In JDK bin. If you see in JDK bin, I have hello world.java. Okay. Now the first step is over. Just I have developed the application. Now what is the second step? Just to compile the application. If I want to compile the application, just what I'll do is I'll go for the command window and I'll try to compile the application. Now if I'm in the folder and if I want to select the folder address, okay, just I'll go for Alt D. Just in any development of any software, okay, it will be always advisable to use the keyboard shortcuts so that the work will be fast and effective. If you go for mouse, unknowingly we'll be using mouse n number of hundreds and thousands of times a day. So even it is 1 second per one mouse click, okay, it will take more time. Okay, at least it will make a half an hour difference. If you use a mouse and if you use a keyboard, difference will be at least minimum for 20 minutes to half an hour. So just try to make use of the keyboard shortcuts so that you can feel the difference. Within half an hour, if you have a half an hour extra time with you, you can do anything. You can update the status in Facebook, you can chat with your friends, you can do anything within a half an hour. So just try to use keyboard shortcuts rather than going for mouse. For any software there will be keyboard shortcuts. Try to use them to save the time. Okay. Now just I have used Alt D to select the location of the folder. Just I have copied that. Window R for command window. Just I'll go for window R for command window and I'll go for CMD. Okay, let me tell it once again. Just I'm in the folder, I go for Alt D, I'll get the folder address and I'll copy this and I'll go for window R, which will lead me to the run command. In the run command I'll type CMD, which will lead me to the command window. Okay, and we are in E drive. Okay, we are there in E drive. So currently it is there in C drive. So just first we'll shift to E drive. So if you want to shift to E drive, then just give the drive name colon. If you give the drive name colon, then it will go for the specific drive. Okay. Now I am there in the E drive. Now I am there in the E drive. Now within E drive, just I have copied the location. I have already copied the location. Okay. Now if I want to go from one location to another location in a command window, okay, we execute a command cd. Cd means change the directive to. Okay, in any programming language we should not call folder as a folder, we should call the folder as a directory. We should not call folder as a folder. Folder is specific to Microsoft, but generic to all the operating systems and programming languages, we call folder as a directory. cd means change the directory to. Okay, where we are changing the directory location to means we are changing the directory location to JDK bin. So now we are there in JDK bin. Now I have not used mouse to copy. Just if I go for cd space backslash, cd space backslash, okay, wherever we are, directly it will go to the drive. Now I am there in the E drive. Now what I have done is cd space all space at the same time. First all space at the same time. Okay, first E and then P. Just it will paste the content. We cannot go for Control V in the command window. If you go for Control V, it will be like this. So we cannot go for Control V in the command window. The control keys will not work in the command window. So only Alt keys will work in the command window. So what we do is first Alt space. That's the first one. First go for E and P. So it will paste. Okay. E and P. So it will paste. E and P. First E, then P. First Alt plus space at once, then first E, P. Okay, just we have pasted it, and now we are in the JDK location, JDK bin location. Now, in any location, if you want to see whether the command is working or not in that location, means then just we will go to the command and enter. Just if you encounter the command and enter, then what it will do means it will give the list of options available for the command. Now, is it listing the options available for the command? Yes. Okay. So Java C is working in this bin location. Okay. Now, is Java working? Yes. Even Java is working in this location. So from this location, I can compile as well as execute a Java application. That's for sure. So if I want to clear the screen, I will go for CLS. CLS will clear the screen. Okay. But I think it is different in C editor, right? CL or AC or something. Okay. Now I am here in the bin location. Now in the bin location, I have HelloWorld.java which I have developed. Okay. Now the next step is just I need to compile the application. Okay. If I want to compile the application, okay, I should use the Java C command. Java C space, okay, Java C space HelloWorld.java. Just we should give the whole file name along with the extension to the Java C command. To the Java C command, we should give the whole file name along with the extension HelloWorld.java. Java C space HelloWorld.java. HelloWorld is the name of the file. .java is the extension of the file. Okay, and just enter. Now it did not give any compile time errors. Okay, it did not give any compile time errors, and we see here HelloWorld dot class is generated. Okay, now let me delete this HelloWorld dot class again. Now I have HelloWorld.java. Okay. Now if there is no compile time error, what it happens is just first step of if you encounter JavaScript command JavaScript space some .java file, what happens is first it will try to check whether there are any syntactical errors in that .java file. If there is no syntactical errors means then it will generate a bytecode, and the bytecode will be there in the .class file. Okay, the bytecode will be there in the .class file, which is the executable file in Java. So if there is no compile time error, directly it will generate the .class file. Let's consider that we have the compilation error. Any statement in any programming language should be terminated with a semicolon. Should be ended with a semicolon. Now I'm not ending the statement with a semicolon. Okay. Now is it a compile time error in C? Even in C, if you are not ending the statement with a semicolon, means it is a compile time error. Even in Java, it is the same. Okay, if you are not ending a statement with a semicolon, it will be a compile time error. Now, just whenever I make any changes to the application, if I want to get the changes reflected, I should compile the application. Whenever I change the application, and if I want to get the changes reflected, we should compile the application. First, I have changed the content, I have saved, and if you want to get the changes reflected, we should compile. Now, I'll try to recompile the application. Okay, just in command prompt, if you go for up arrow and down arrow, we get the previously executed commands. Okay, just I'm going for up and down. We can get the previously executed stuff. We need not to type again and again, just we can go for up and down so that we can get the previously executed commands. Now, I'll try to execute again JavaScript space HelloWorld.java. What is it telling? Okay, semicolon is expected in this line. Now, just let me go to that line. Okay, just it is showing at 6 just because it is the ending of 5. Okay, so just let's come to this line and we can come to know like yes, some semicolon is missing. So, I'll keep the semicolon. I'll save. Okay, now is the .class file generated here? Yes or no? No. If there is any compile time error in the .java file, then it will never generate the executable. The executable file will be generated only on successful compilation. Okay, the executable file, the .class file will be generated only on successful compilation. If there is a compilation error, then the .class file will never be generated. Now, I have gone back and I have put the semicolon. So now, I'll try to compile the application. I'll clear the screen. I'll compile the application. So, is it compiled now? It is compiled successfully. So, you see here, the .class file is generated. Okay, this is the executable file. Now, the process of compilation is over. Okay, the process of compilation is over. Okay, if the process of compilation is over and the executable file is generated, the next step that we need to do is execute the application. Okay, we can execute the application. Now, what is the command that we need to use to execute the Java application? Java. Java is the command that we need to use to execute the Java application. Java C is the command that we need to use to compile the application, and Java is the command that we need to use to execute the application. So, if you want to execute the application, just I'll go for Java command. Okay. Now, which file I will use to execute the application? Will I use HelloWorld.java or HelloWorld.class? To execute the application, will I use HelloWorld.java or HelloWorld.class? Definitely for execution, only executable files will be used. The source code will never be used for execution. Only executable files will be used for execution. What is the executable file in these two? HelloWorld.java or HelloWorld.class? .class is the executable file. So we use only executable files while executing. For compilation we use source files. For execution we use executable files. So now we make use of HelloWorld.class for execution. Okay. Now while executing, we should give just the class name. We should not give the extension of the .class file. Just we should give the name of the .class file. What is the name of the .class file? Hello world. So just I have given hello world. For JavaC command, we should give the file name as well as the extension also. But for Java command, we should not give the extension. We should give only the .class file name. Okay. For Java command, we should only give the .class file name, not the extension. We should not give the extension to the Java command. So it's executing the application. Some of guys will try to give like this, hello.class. But if I try to give like this, what it will do means it will consider hello.class as a class. Okay. Now, do we have any .class file with the name helloworld.class? Leave out the extension. The file name should be helloworld.class. Is our file name helloworld.class? No. Our file name is helloworld. Our extension is .class. But if I give like this, it will expect a file with the name as helloworld.class. Do we have any file with the name helloworld.class? No. We have a file with the name helloworld and extension is class. But we don't have a file with the name helloworld.class. So if I give here, it tells that no class definition found error. Okay, it is a runtime error. It's not a compile time error. It is a runtime error. At the runtime, it is telling like I could not able to find helloworld.class. So what it tells like I could not able to find this class. Okay. Now if I give Java says hello. Now what is it telling? No class definition found error hello. Okay. When the runtime environment gives the no class definition found error means if it's not able to find a .class file with that name in that location. If the Java command, the runtime environment could not able to find a .class file with that name in that location, then it will give a no class definition found error. Now, if you give Java space hello, what the runtime environment will do means it will search for a .class file with the name hello. Now, in which location we are? In JDK bin. Now, in this location, JDK bin, do we have any hello.class file? Do we have any file with the name hello and extension .class in this location? No. So, what it will do means it will give a no class definition found error hello. So, if you give any input to the Java command, Java space some class name. If you give Java space some class name, first what the runtime environment will do means it will try to find an executable file with that name. But do we have any executable file, any .class file with the name hello? No. In that location, we don't have any .class file with the name hello. So it gives no class definition found error. No class definition found error. There is no class definition for this hello. Okay. This error comes when this runtime error comes when we are executing with an invalid class name. Okay. If the .class file doesn't exist, if the .class file doesn't exist in that location with that name, then it will give no class definition found error. Understood? Okay. Definitely, if you want to execute a Java application, the .class file should be there. If the .class file is not found in that specific location, it will give no class definition found error. Okay, and while executing, we should not give the extension. We should just give the file name. We should just give the .class file name. We should not give the extension while executing. But while compiling, we should give the file name as well as the extension .java. Okay, understood? Everybody? God has given us a good voice. A good voice is just to express. Okay? Please use your better voices to express. Okay, I cannot see all of your faces. You can say like this, but within a fraction of a second I cannot see all of your faces. So, based on the pitch of voice, I can understand. Yeah, this many number of guys can understand, or this many number of guys are not able to get what we are telling. So, just tell through voice, not your facial expressions. Okay? Now, this is a very simple application. Like, we develop a very simple class. Okay? Class space class name, where we have open the brace and close the brace. Within this class, we have given a public static void main, which is taking a string arguments. Okay? String arguments and system.out.println of hello. This system.out.println is very equivalent to our printf. Okay, it is used to print something content to the console. Okay, now all the keywords will be displayed in blue color in edit plus. Now what are the keywords available here? Class, public, static, void. All is for our keywords, and keywords will be displayed in blue color in edit plus. Okay, and library classes will be displayed in red color in edit plus. Now, what are the library classes that we have? String, system. The string and system are not the classes developed by us. String and system are the library classes. Now, from where string and system will be retrieved? From where the Java C or Java will get the system and string? From where the string or system will be retrieved? Okay, all the third party executable files will be there in the rt.jar. Internally, these supporting tools will interact with the rt.jar. While compiling, what the supporting tools will do means the JDK supporting tools will interact with the rt.jar and try to find whether the .class file is there in the rt.jar or not. Okay? Internally, while compiling, the supporting tools of JDK will interact with the rt.jar and try to find whether the class is available in the library or not. Now, do we have string in the library? String is there in the library. Now, do we have system in the library? Yes, system executable file is there in the rt.jar. So, if it is there in the library, okay, if it is a library related class, it will be displayed in red color. Okay, the system and string, we are not developing these classes. These are classes are already developed and compiled, and the .class files are there in rt.jar. Just we are making use of that library developed classes. We are not developing them. So all the library developed classes will be there in red color. Okay, system is a class as well as string is a class. Okay, and this is a string array. How we declare a variable? Let's consider like we have a function in C, like is this the syntax of function in C? Is this the syntax of function in C? Yes. Okay. This is the syntax of function in C. In the same way, okay. the syntax will be the same. Okay. Now what are the number of arguments that we have here in ABC function? There are two arguments. Okay. In the main method, in Java we call them as methods. In main method we have only one argument. Okay. What is the type of the arguments? Means it is a string array. The type of arguments here it is a int, two ints. Now what is the type of the argument here? It is an integer array. Okay. In the same way, it is a string array. This array symbol we can keep here or even at the variable level. This array symbol we can keep either at the string or even at the variable. It doesn't make any difference. Okay. It doesn't make any difference. Now here, what is int? Int is a data type. What is I? Variable. Okay. The name of the variable will be called as an identifier. Okay. The name of the variable will be called as a identifier. So the name of the variable will be called as a identifier. The name of the variable will be called as an identifier. So now the data type is the string. Data type is a string. It's not a string actually, it is a string array. The data type is a string array and args is the name of the identifier. Name of the variable. Args is the identifier. Args is the name of the variable, or we can simply call it as an identifier. And the data type should be the same, it should not change, but the identifier can change. I can keep even HCU here. I can keep any name as identifier. Any valid name, any valid variable name can be an identifier. I can keep any valid name as an identifier. It doesn't make any difference if I keep HCO or Rajesh or X or Y or Z. It will be the same. The identifier name can be any name, any valid name. But if we keep like this, then it will be a problem. The data type should be predefined, but the identifier can be any name. Okay? This identifier can be any name, but the data type should be predefined. It should be previously defined. Okay? Now, first data type space the identifier. So, string is a data type. We give string space any name. This array we can keep either after a variable name or after the data type. That doesn't make any difference. Okay? The array symbol can be there at the data type or at the identifier. That doesn't make any difference. Okay? And if you want to print some content to the console, we use system.out.println. Okay? Now, if we have changed some content, what we do is just we need to compile the application. Okay? Whenever we change the content, to get the changed content reflected, we should compile the application. Let me try to clear the screen. Let me try to compile the application. If already some .class file is there in the same location, means what it will do? It will overwrite. It will delete the existing .class file and it will create a new .class file. Okay? See, I have already HelloWorld.class. So, if I have already a .class file in the same location, means it will delete the existing .class file. Okay, the Java C command automatically it will remove the existing .class file and it will create a new .class file. We need not to delete the .class file manually. Java C command itself, if it finds a .class file with the same name in the same location, it will remove the .class file automatically and it will create a new .class file. So, if I execute the Java C command, automatically existing .class file will be removed and new .class file will be created. Okay? Now, Now we are developing, okay, the applications in the JDK bin location where the commands are there. Let's consider that I'm trying to remove HelloWorld.class, but while removing HelloWorld.class, okay, mistakenly if I remove some javac or java.exe, what happens? While removing HelloWorld.java or HelloWorld.class from here, mistakenly if I have removed javac.exe, what happens? Can we compile the application? Can we compile the application without javac.exe? We can never compile the application. So we need to reinstall the Java software. So any developmental activities we should not do in the location where we install the software. In any programming language, it might be C or C++ or Java or Oracle, wherever it might be, whatever the developmental activities we are doing, we should not do in the location where we have installed the software. We should keep a separate folder for development. So what I do is, in E location, I'll keep a separate location, a separate folder. HUFN apps, okay, HUFN apps. Just I'll go for I'll go for another folder basics. Okay. Now in the folder HUFN apps and in the folder basics, just I'll try to develop a Java application. Okay. Now let me save this file in the file save as. Rather than going here, what I will do means I'll go for E. I'll save in this location. Now where it is? E, HUFN apps, basics, HelloWorld.java. If you see here, the location will be displayed here. Okay? It's there in E, HU apps, basics, HelloWorld.java. Okay? Now, let me remove that file from the JDK bin. I have HelloWorld.java, let me remove this. Now, I don't have HelloWorld.java in JDK bin. I have HelloWorld.java in which location? E, HU app, basics. Now, from where I should compile the application? From E, HU app, basics or E, JDK bin? From where I should compile the application? Definitely we should compile the application where the .java file is there. We should not compile the application where the command is there. We should compile the application from where the .java file is there. Where the .java file is there? In E, HU apps, basics. So we have the .java file in this location. So we need to compile the application from the location where the .java file is there. So now I'll copy this location. I'll go here. And I need to find whether the javac is working here or not. Whether the javac is working or not here. If I want to find whether javac is working or not, how I can find it? Just go for javac enter. What is it telling? Javac is not a recognized or internal or external command. That means even we have installed Java software, javac is not recognized in EHU apps. Okay? Javac is not recognized. It is telling that I am not able to recognize the javac command. Javac is not available inside EHU apps basics. Now let me go for this location. E JDK 1.5 bin where the javac.exe is there. Okay. Now I am there in this location E JDK bin. Now let me go for javac. Is javac available in E JDK bin? Yes. Java C is available in each JDK bin, but if I go for EHCU basics, okay, now if I see, is Java C available in this location? No. Now let me go for the previous location, eJDK bin. Now I am there in eJDK bin. Now in this location, Java C is available. Now let me go one step back. Okay, let me go to this folder. Now I am there in eJDK bin. I am there in this location. In this location, since javac.exe is there, the Java C is working. Now let me go one step back. Let me go to this JDK 1.5 folder. Okay. Now let me see. If you want to go for one step back, just I need to go for dot dot. Dot dot means if you provide dot dot for the cd command, it will go one step back. Now where it is? It has gone one step back from bin to JDK 1.5. Now in bin folder, Java C is working. We have seen that. Now let me see whether Java C is working in this location or not. Now is it working in the parent location? No. Even if even in the parent location, if it is not working, means will it work in another locations like E something HU apps basics? No. If it is available, if it is not available, even to its parent location. If it is not available even to its parent location, it will not be available to other locations. So what the thing is, in any software, by default the commands will be available only to the folder where the commands exe files are there. In any software, in any programming language, in any software, not even programming language, in any software, okay, the commands will be available. The commands will be available only in the folder where the exe files are there. Okay, in any software, the commands will be available only to the folder where the exe files are there. Now where the exe files are there? In JDK bin. In JDK bin there are exe files. Now the Java C will be available only inside JDK bin. Now can we develop a Java application outside JDK bin? Can we develop a Java application outside JDK bin? Yes or no? Yes or no? Right now? Right now, with this system, can we develop a Java application outside JDK bin? No. So, right now we cannot develop a Java application without outside JDK bin, just because if we want to develop a Java application, we should have javac.exe, which is not available outside the JDK bin. So we are enforced to develop a Java application inside JDK bin, but it should not be the case. We should be in a position to develop the application wherever we wish. If I want to develop the application in C, it should be possible. If I want to develop the application in D or E or F, whatever the drive it might be, it should be possible. Okay. Now, can I do the development with the current settings? No. What by default what it will do means, by default the commands will be available only to the folder where the exe files are there. Where the exe files are there? In JDK 1.5 bin. Now the commands Java C or Java will be available only to JDK bin. So we cannot bring the development files, we cannot bring the source code to JDK bin. It's not the correct way. What we need to do is, we need to bring these commands outside the JDK bin, and we need to make some settings so that these commands will be available throughout the operating system. We need to make some settings so that the commands present here will be available throughout the operating system. Wherever I go for C or D or E or F or X, whatever the drive it might be, the commands should be available. If I want to make such settings, okay, what I need to do is, I need to update the path. Okay, I need to update the path. If I want to make the commands available throughout the operating system, then we should update the path. Okay, if you want to make the commands available throughout the operating system, then we should update the path. We should update the path. We should update the path. Now, how we can update the path? What is a path? Okay, for any operating system, there will be some environmental variables. It might be Unix or Linux or Windows or whatever it might be. Okay, there will be some environmental variables. Okay, which sets the preferences to that specific operating system. Okay, let's consider like there are Windows operating system is installed in first machine, second machine, third machine, fourth machine, fifth machine. The preferences of the first machine cannot be same with the second machine. The second machine cannot be same with the third machine. Third machine cannot be the same with the fourth machine. So, what we can do in any operating system is we can set some preferences. We can set some environmental variables which defines the preferences of that system. Okay, the environmental variables will define the preferences of that system, how that operating system should behave. Okay, so if you want to update the environmental variables, then what I do is I'll go for my computer. Okay, so my computer, just go for right click. On my computer, if you go for right click, it will be a properties. Go for, it's different, it's displayed in different, but it's my computer. Okay, in my computer, if you go for right click, you have properties. Okay, we have properties. Okay, on my computer, just right click, you go for properties. In properties, if it is Windows 7, we have advanced system settings. In properties, we have advanced system settings. Okay, just on my computer, right click, you get properties. If you click on properties, you come to this window. In this window, we click on advanced system settings. In advanced system settings, we have a tab advanced. We have a tab advanced. Okay, in advanced system settings, we have a tab advanced. Okay, in advanced tab, we have a button environmental variables. In advanced tab, we have a button environmental variables. We have a tab environmental variables. Just click on this button. Okay, you find multiple variables. Okay, now already we had a path because of the previous installation. Now let me delete this path. So by default the system will be like this. By default, okay, the system will be like this, the path will not be available. Now we have two different kinds of environmental variables. We have two different types of environmental variables in any operating system. One is the user environmental variables and the system environmental variables. Okay, we have two different types of environmental variables in any operating system. One is the system environmental and another is the user environmental variables. What is the user environmental variables and what is system environmental variables and what is the difference? Okay, let's consider like I have a computer here, I have a laptop here. Now, is this laptop restricted to only one user or many users can access this laptop? For the same system, we can have different users, user 1, user 2, X or Y or administrator or user or guest. Like this, we can create a number of users for the same system. Okay? The user environmental variables will be specific to the user of the system. Okay, the user environmental variables will be specific to that user. A system can have multiple users. The same system can have multiple users. The user environmental variables will be specific to that user. The environmental variables of one user will not be applicable to another user. Okay? The user environmental variables of one user will not be applicable to another user, even though they are using the same system. Even though they are using the same laptop, user 1 will have some set of user environmental variables and user 2 will have some other set of environmental variables. So, the user environmental variables will be specific to that user. Different users of the same system will have different set of user environmental variables. Different users of the same system will have different sets of user environmental variables. But the system environmental variables will be generic or will be common. Generic means common. Okay? In general, in software terminologies, we don't use common word. We don't use the word common. We use generic in place of common. Common means it will be applicable to all. In that context, we don't use common, we use generic. Generic means applicable to all. Okay? The system environmental variables are generic to all the users. It means common to all the users. Now, the system environmental variables are editable only by the administrator. A normal user cannot edit the system environmental variables. Only administrator can edit the system environmental variables. Okay, we can update the path either in user environmental variables or system environmental variables. It's your choice. Okay, it's our choice. Okay, to update the path in system environmental variables or user environmental variables. In general, if we are using personal systems, means there will be only one user. There will not be any multiple users for your laptop or the system. But in general, in industries, the same system will be used by multiple users. So how it happens means they will not give the administrator permission to all the users. Let's consider if you go for companies, even if you are an employee of a company, you will not get the administrator permissions. Okay? If you want to install any software, you should call the administrator guy and you should take his help to install any software. Then what the administrator will do means he will log in with his credentials and he will install the software for you. But in general, in any of the software companies, you won't have any administrator permissions. Okay? You will have only user permissions. So you can set only user environmental variables. In some companies, you will have administrator permissions also. So you can edit the system environmental variables. So in general, make it a habit to update the user environmental variables. Just because in companies, in most of the companies, you don't have the permission to edit the system environmental variables. Just because you are not administrator of the system, you are just a user of the system. So just make it a habit to update the path with the user environmental variables. Okay? Just the difference is, if you update the user environmental variables, it will be available only to that particular user. If it is a system environmental variables, it will be applicable to all the users of the system. That's it. Now do we have a variable path in the list? We have a class path. Okay, we have something. Okay, we have some hex root. We have temp. We have tmp. Now, do we have path? No. Okay, by default it will be like this. We don't have a path. So just go for a new. Okay, since we don't have a path, go for a new variable. Okay. The standard is to give the environmental variable names in uppercase. We can give in lowercase also, but the standard is to give the environmental variable names in the uppercase. It's the industry standard. So just follow the standard so that we give the environmental variable name path in uppercase. And the value of the path should be where the commands are available. Where the commands are available? In which folder the commands are available? JDK bin. So I'll copy this location and I'll update the path. Okay. After giving any command location, just give semicolon. Just after pasting the command location, just give semicolon. Why? Because we may install multiple softwares like C, C++, Java, Oracle. So paths should be available for all the softwares. Let's consider like we have installed even Oracle also. Okay? Let's consider like if we have installed even Oracle. So just for example, now we have even Java installed and we have even Oracle installed. Now Oracle related command files are there in E Oracle list. Java related command files are there in E JDK list. So what is the delimiter between multiple command locations? It is a semicolon. A semicolon is a delimiter between multiple command locations. Okay? So make it a practice to keep semicolon when you copy and paste any command location. When you copy and paste any command location in the environmental variables, make it a habit to keep semicolon. So that if you are going to add the next command location, it will be useful. So if there is no semicolon means what will happen means it will try to check the commands in E JDK5 bin, E Oracle bin. Okay, is this location available? E JDK bin, E Oracle bin? No. So that we should have a proper delimiter between multiple command locations, and in environmental variables it is semicolon. Okay. So now we have just Java software. So we have gone for E JDK 1.5 bin and kept semicolon. That's enough to update the path. Okay, the path is updated. Now that's okay. Now let me come once again for updating the path. Just go for my computer. Okay, right click, we'll get properties. In the properties, we go for advanced system settings. In the advanced system settings, we have a tab advanced. In the advanced tab, we have environmental variables. In the environmental variables, if already path is updated means just click there and edit the path. Okay, and paste your command location and paste semicolon. If path is not available, just create a new with the name as path, which probably will be in uppercase, and with the location as the location where the commands are available, and keep a semicolon. Okay, already path is available here, so just if you already path is available means just I'll update the path here. Okay, if already path is available means I'll update the path here and keep semicolon. Otherwise, okay, just I'll create a new variable with the name path. If path variable is not there, I'll create a new variable. If path variable is there, then I'll edit and I'll paste the new location and give semicolon at the end. Understood? Understood, everybody? Yes, sir. Now I have updated the path, and let me see whether JavaC is working or not. Now, even after updating the path, JavaC is not working. Just because whatever the environmental variables we change, okay, if you make any changes in the environmental variables, those changes will be reflected only to the new command window, only to the new console. Okay, the changes in the environmental variables will not be reflected in the existing console. The changes in the environmental variables will be reflected only to a new console. Changes to environmental variables will be reflected only for a new console. For an existing console, the environmental variables will not be reflected. The changes to any environmental variable will be reflected only for a new console. The changes for environmental variables will be reflected only for a new console. So let me keep the existing console as it is. Let me go for a new console. This is a new console. Okay. Now let me go for Java C. Now is it available in JDK 105 location? Yes. Just because it is a new console after updating the environmental variables. Okay. But in the existing console, it's not available. Okay. That's why whenever you change anything in environmental variable, and if you expect the change to be reflected, open a new console. Okay. Now let me go to this location. Just if I want to exit the command window, just go for exit. Okay. Now let me clear the screen using CLS. Let me go to the specific location. Let me see here. Now is Java C working in this location? Yes. So now I can compile the application. Now Java C, what's the file name? HelloWorld.java. Just compile, and even Java will be working. Okay. So even I can execute the application. Let me clear the screen. You should not give HelloWorld.class. You should give HelloWorld. Application is executed. Understood the whole flow? How we can do the stuff? Okay. Practice these things today. Just my sincere advice, or don't think it as advice, think it as a suggestion. Practice the things every day. Okay. Don't store the things. Practice the things every day, and at the end of the week, try to revise the things. Whatever we have done this week. Just Java is a very vast subject. It will take at least minimum 4 to 4.5 months to complete. So at the end of the day, you will remember only that week's concepts. You will not remember the previous 4 months concepts. So try to revise the concepts every week. Try to practice the concepts every day, and at the end of the week, at least spare 1 hour or 2 hours to revise the concepts. That's the best way that I can suggest. Okay? And while practicing also, don't try to practice by seeing your notes. I have seen and I have observed many of the guys. How the way of practicing will be means, just they will see that they will have the notes in front of that, and they will keep the notes in front of the laptop, and they will see the notes and they will type. They will see the notes and they will type program, yes, successfully executed. And they will close the notes and they will close the laptop and open the Facebook. It should not be the way of programming. It should not be the way of programming. If it is the case, definitely I have told even to the previous classes, if it is the case, there is a typist available in the market for 5,000 rupees per month. Why they should recruit a software engineer for 40,000 or 50,000 or at least 20,000 per month? If a typist, he can do a better job, he can do a 10 times better job than you. If typing is the requirement for software companies. But typing is not the requirement for software companies. Programming, analyzing, bug fixing, error handling. If you get an error, you should be in a position to analyze those errors. Why that error has come, where the error has come, how I can fix the error. Okay, that's the thing that is required for software companies, not the typing. So try to practice the application. Okay, see your notes. Understand what we have told, understand what we have discussed. Throw away the notes and try to practice yourself. You will get errors. Definitely you will get errors at the very initial time or in a very mature phase. Just because we can have typing mistakes, we can have any errors. But solve that errors, and that is nothing but a subject. Okay? Most of the guys, what they will do means, just they will practice applications in a very positive way. Okay? In a very successful way. Like means, if I do like this, it will be successful. But the software companies will not expect that how it is successful. Software companies will expect if it fails, what you will do. If it fails, how you will solve the problem. That's a very thing that they will do in interviews. The interviewers will concentrate mostly on errors and exceptions, not the successful flows. If he is a correct interviewer, 80% will be on errors and exceptions. That's the requirement for any software company. If you get an error, you should be in a position to solve that error. Successful flow means anybody can do. But if he is a correct software professional, if there is a problem, he could be able to resolve the problem. So, you can resolve the problems in real time only if you face the problems now. So, face the problems, resolve the problems, and don't repeat the problems. Okay? If you repeat the problems again and again, you are a problem. So, don't repeat the problems that you have faced previously. Okay? That should be the effective way of programming. Just, if you want the software, share it. Have you shared the software in Facebook? Yes. We have a site for, we have a group in Facebook for our class, so that any updations or any softwares will be pasting the URL of that software in the Facebook. So, you can use Facebook for a right thing. Okay? We will be posting any updations. Let's consider like if there is no class today, we will be pasting there. We will be posting there. Okay? So I'll be using Facebook as a media to communicate with you. Okay? And even we are recording the screens here, and just we'll be publishing that recorded screens in Facebook or some other media or YouTube. If you want to have a reference, then you can refer that videos. Okay? Thanks for this for the day, and we'll assemble you next class. See, we have Java classes by Rajesh. That group you can find Java classes by Rajesh. More so, many of the HQ, MCA, and the guys are there. Many of the seniors you can find it. So, what's the name of your group? Java classes by Rajesh. If you find any seniors of MC or MTech, most of them are there in my group. You can find them. By Rajesh.